All right, I'm going to entitle this video Stop Using Index Numbers, because you guys love to use index numbers, and I know this is a bad habit that comes from other languages. I won't mention any names, Java, but actually it comes from a lot of other languages because a lot of people do this. In most languages, if you have a list and you want to iterate through it, you can iterate through it using a structure somewhere along these lines with a while statement. You get the length of your variable, of your list, your array, whatever you want to call it. You set that equal to one thing. You set I equal to 0. Usually people use I. And then you can print out your list by index number, and it changes the index number each time. And then you iterate, or you increment the index number, the I, by 1. By the way, a lot of people miss this in the basic information quiz. I guess it's not a structure you see a lot, but basically I plus equals 1 is the same as I equals I plus 1. It basically just increments it by 1, but you can actually increment it by 2, which makes it nicer than what you use in a lot of languages, which is I plus plus. That can only increment by 1, whereas with plus equals, you can increment it at any amount. Anyway, people do this a lot, and this is what you get. Right? Beautiful list, lovely list. But you need the individual items here. And what I saw several people do, which worked, was to then split the list by appending this to 2 more lists. Yeah, okay, that works. Or you actually could have addressed it by just doing this. Not recommending this, mind you, but you could have got the index of the index and set it to 0 or 1, but depending on whether you wanted the name or the number. So you could have done that. That would have worked. But there's a better way in Python. In Python, we don't use this silly little while loop technique. And we don't need to split our list into 2 separate lists because we can so easily access whatever we want in the list. We don't even have to get the length because Python will get it for us. So what we can do is we can use a for loop, and we could say for name, comma, money in LOL, list of lists, not laughing out loud or whatever. Print, and a lot of you didn't use f strings like the instructions said to. So we can access those 2 individual variables as long as every item has the same length. As long as every list within this list has 2 items, then we can assign 2 temporary variables, in this case name and money. If it had 3 items, we could assign 3 temporary variables. And we can access either side of it as we go through. So we could say something like that. And that is so much easier because we don't have to know how many items there are in the list. We don't need to know any of that. It's just going to find it for us. And we could work with them that way. We don't just have to print it out. We could say something like if money equals 3521. Oops, I need a colon there. Print name. All right, so this is going to print out the name of anyone on the list who pledged $35.21. Brittany. All right, much cleaner, much cleaner than using index numbers, much easier than using index numbers, because we don't need to keep track of the index. We can we can assign each of these a variable, and then as it iterates through there, we can access the two variables in the list. Or again, like I said, if it was a list of 3 items, or if there was 3 items in each individual list, we could have put 3 variables there, and so on. So much easier, so much easier. And don't forget the f-string, guys. Don't forget the f-string. For those of you who didn't watch the f-string variable, it's pretty simple. It's one of the newest methods of formatting strings. It's much easier than concatenation. It's much more powerful than concatenation. I'm not going to demonstrate it. Just watch the video on f-strings. All right. See you soon.